For the guests who want to have translation, there are headsets in front to get. So I'm just saying, because we're going to start in a couple of minutes. So now's the time. If you need headsets, please get them in front. Thank you. Is that an error? Thank you, everybody. Herzlich willkommen here of the conference hall. This presentation will get inspired presentation. I gave a short description. So welcome, everybody. Everybody will have 3 minutes here, so it will be to the point. Not easy. They're already laughing from my presentation is 8 minutes. Error. Nope. So again, welcome. The Get Inspired presentation is an initiative from the European STARS. Innovation in science, technology and the arts. And it's an interesting combination what we have here on people. It's very diverse, and we have creative engineers, designers, founders. And the Ars Electronica, together with the EU Initiative STARS, gathered a very nice mix of people. They're gonna talk about their work, where they come from. They're gonna say maybe the funny thing about the art of imperfection, of errors, or the nice things about it, or the bad things, we shall see. And all the alternative and inspiring stories you're going to hear now. Afterwards, the presentation, we can have a small round, some questions. And also, if you want to speak to people individually, you can speak them afterwards. So let the first guest come here, if it's possible, if it's available. I want to introduce you to Hannes Möseneder, if he's here. Give a welcome applause to everybody, one by one. Hannes, microphone is yours. Get your 3 minutes.
Thank you. That would be a challenge. So many thanks for the invitation and the opportunity to talk a little bit about innovation at Greiner. I'm not sure, do you see the slides or? Okay. You probably are in contact every day with one of our products, but I guess many of you haven't heard about Greiner. So let me have the opportunity to briefly introduce Greiner at the beginning. In 2018, Greiner will celebrate its 105th anniversary. We are a company that has been owned from the Greiner family for all these years. Our consolidated revenues reached more than 1.5 billion euros in 2017. The capex were fully covered by our generated cash flow. Over 10,000 employees work for Greiner worldwide in 30 countries. Our 4 divisions, now we have it. Our 4 divisions are responsible for our current business. The Greiner Packaging is a world leader in rigid plastic packaging, mainly for dairy products, but as well active in the non-food sector. The Greiner Bio1 is a supplier of blood diagnostic systems and supplies other plastic parts to research institutes. The Greiner Foam International does foam for upholstery, for mattresses, for interiors of aircrafts, of cars, and some technical applications such like acoustics. And last but not least, Greiner Extrusion is the world market leader for extrusion tools for the window market. When talking about innovation, it's very important to know what challenges you have faced in different innovation levels. In the core area, that's our strength. It's all about existing markets, existing customers, existing technologies. The goal is here to defend and extend our current business. In the next generation level, it's all about coming from existing markets into adjacent markets using the latest, the state-of-the-art technology. And highest and most demanding level is transformational innovation. In an organization like ours, where result orientation is the top goal, it's very hard and the budget for R&D activities is very unevenly distributed. So most of that, what we are doing is exploitation, and that requires disciplined management, the elimination of variances, the elimination of failures. The time frame here is short to mid-term. Okay, thank you. And vice versa, our exploration, that's risk-taking, tolerant of failure, experimentation, long-term perspective. When it comes to sources for inspirations, of course, in the efficiency-driven area, we are looking what does our competition, our customers know anyway what we can do better, make it cheaper, lighter, and then. We at Greiner Technology and Innovation are looking mainly for sources from the outside. We get inspirations from startups, from scouts, from artists, and we work with the competition as well. But in opposite to the efficiency-driven part, we are working in an open collaboration system. Few examples: Lit Factory will open in 2019 on the campus at the university in Linz. The whole value chain of the plastics industry is represented and will address, among other things, one of the most challenging issues the plastics industry is facing today: sustainability. I'm going a little bit further because I'm running out of time. With the University of Arts and Design here in Linz, we have developed a radical heat storage system. The Greiner Power Cubes allow standardization where today many small commercial operations creating individual solutions. 2 projects that can be seen here at the Boss City. With the University of Natural Resources and Life Sciences in Vienna, we are working on the so-called enzymatic recycling. Once bacteria could help to stem the flood of plastic waste. That's a closed loop in a circular economy. The other project that is here in the Boss City are Greiner Life Capsules. We test prototypes which should help to stop the worldwide desertification. The capsule, made of biodegradable plastic, contains plant seeds and a nutrient liquid It can be produced in large numbers and spread over by airplanes or even by drones in areas where desertification is a current threat. Other projects we are working on is printed electronics, additive manufacturing, a new point-of-care diagnostics, bio-based foam, where we work as well with external partner for 2 days use cases. But we are looking, of course, for other sources of ideas. That's the way we are going to organize an hackathon this year in October in Vienna. Thank you very much. Yeah. Almost 3 minutes.
Almost 3 minutes. Thank you very much. The second person, Hiroshi, is he available?
Thank you. Thank you. Yes. Yep. So, hello everyone, and thank you for coming to this session. I'm Hiroshi Chigira from NTT Service Evolution Laboratory in Japan. NTT is actually, Japanese telecommunication company, so some of you guys might know. But actually, NTT and Ars Electronica started our collaboration from 2016, and this is third year, the second year. Well, anyway, and this year in Post City, we are now, presenting our special demonstration of Swarm Arena, and it's happening almost next to the entrance, a black big cage of open future lab space, and I'm now today briefly talk about our Swarm Arena project. And actually, so this Swarm Arena, what's Swarm Arena and what's Swarm? So Swarm is basically the term, the meaning of, the some agents, the group of the agent or a group of creature. For example, the fish creates swarm and move, around in the, the water. So by getting inspiration of Swarm, so now we are doing our project of Swarm Arena for our 2020 Olympic Games. So actually NTT and many Japanese company in Japan are hosting and next Olympic game in 2020. So what can we do? So our goal, our research goal is how can we create a new sports viewing experience in 2020? And here we are showing some of the pictures. Actually, we came up with a new media of display ground bot, which can go on the ground, but it has display and we can show almost anything. And this ground bot can create a swarm. Sometimes it makes an arrow to navigate the people, and sometimes the swarms can create a virtual sports live viewing experience. Like here, we are showing the example of football game. So actually, in this example, we call it virtual arena, but each display is representing the movement of actual physical movement of football players. So we can create a new experience of sports live viewing from distant place. Also, if we deploy this media into a real field, we can also augment the real live sports event by showing many other informations related to that sports. So we can also do some ceremony things by utilizing this ground bot and also the drone on the fly. And actually, this presentation, special presentation, is happening every day from 1 p.m. and 3 p.m. And actually, today, from 3 p.m., I'm doing, our next presentation there. Also, you keep here to hear, other guys' presentation. But if you have time during your festival, please come to our booth and see our Swarm Arena things. So thank you so much. See you in 2020.
Thank you very much, Hiroshi. The next one, Dylan Wood from ICD Stuttgart, over here. Give him a big applause for the 3 minutes.
Thank you. Hi, thanks again for inviting us for the Innovation Forum. The project that we want to share today is called Cyber-Physical Macromaterials as a UAV Reconfigurable Architectural System. The project was conceived as a master thesis project from Miguel, who is here today, Beirus Tahazande, and Jin Chen, and was supervised by myself and Maria, who is also here to tell you about it today. The idea of the project is to create a tangible vision for a new adaptable and flexible architecture that can enable different uses for public spaces, large public spaces. The idea is to combine a combination of distributed robotic construction with a new type of programmable building material. This special building block is produced from lightweight carbon fiber filament wound structures with embedded electronics and sensing that is rearranged by autonomously flying unmanned UAV vehicles. And together this enables a sort of new form of intelligence within the building material that can create and enable new uses for public spaces.
Can you see the video? It's okay. This is an animation of how the overall system works. Sorry, the video is a bit flipping. Yeah. And in a larger scale, that's how we envision the system reconfiguring. The material, the builder, and the user are the three main agents of the system. The use of the aerial vehicle enables the separation of the construction zone from the user zone, allowing both to happen simultaneously. And the units composed by different parts, they are made of using carbon fiber winding process. They communicate to each other through their connection, and they have pre-programmed microchip and sensors embedded. For the builder, we use different custom-made parts, including a flight control algorithm to compensate for varying loads throughout the cycle. And we tested the system. Here's an autonomous outdoor construction test. And how the system works is that the material system informs the builder about the position of the unit to be placed. When the unit is attached, the builder gets the signal to release it. And the same procedure can be used in reverse for detaching and reconfiguring tasks.
So in order to achieve a truly responsive architecture, we are proposing three different methods or behaviors of our system. The first one is where the system is responding to any environmental impact, for example, sun or weather. The other one is where the system is responding directly to the user, physically interacting with it. And finally, a learning mode where the system figures out the relationship between various inputs and desirable outputs and then makes decisions based on that knowledge. The way we see this in the future is going beyond architecture as a static object that is built by a human or a machine, but architecture itself becoming a machine, continuously changing together with our dynamic urban environment and responding to us as humans and kind of becoming our partner and cohabitant in our urban spaces. And we would like to invite you to see our second prototype at the Ars Electronica Center in the entrance hall whenever you have time during the festival. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So the next one, Maya Pindeus, if she is available. Is Maya? Yeah, welcome. Give a big applause to Maya, please. Thanks.
Thank you. All right. Hi, everyone. My name is Maya. I'm co-founder of Humanizing Autonomy. Cities are messy and people are unpredictable. We love to jaywalk, we love to be distracted, look at our phones, push strollers, luggage, whatever it is around, and we might behave even differently if it's in London or Tokyo or Detroit or Mumbai. We don't really like rules. On the other hand, autonomous vehicles love rules. This is a great image of the Google Waymo autonomous car project being stopped by 4 children in Halloween costumes. And this is what an autonomous vehicle sees. It sees bounding boxes, it classifies people as, a box really. But if it's about understanding and creating interaction between machine and person, it needs to go beyond the bounding box, looking at body language, looking at what people really do on the streets. So the question is, what will the future of autonomy be like, right? So if we look at extreme scenarios, are we going to have a streamlined, almost hit-and-miss process where everything kind of works but doesn't work? Is that the future? Or are we going to have go back to a 20th century American dream of highways and secluded urban areas? Well, what it really will be, we don't know yet, but what we know is that we should create an interaction platform between machine and person. There have been quite a few efforts. There have been interfaces on the vehicles that would notify a person of their, of their intent. But up to date, there was something missing. A person that is able to communicate to the vehicle, but also a vehicle that understands really the intricate and subtle behaviors of people. And this is really how we applied for a STARS Prize last year. We developed a system that allowed a pedestrian to communicate with a vehicle using hand gestures, and the vehicle to communicate back, and really creating this fluent interaction. And while this is great, people usually don't stand on the sidewalk raising their hand and hailing a vehicle. That's not how we behave on the street. We still do weird things. And which is really important, we behave very differently in different megacities, in different cities in the world. There's a very strong cultural behavior. Which is why, with humanizing autonomy, we went ahead and developed a predictive technology that allows autonomous vehicles to understand pedestrian behavior across cities, across cultures. Which means it's behavioral modeling for different pedestrian behavior across cities. It's deep learning and AI application, understanding body language, really the intricate and implicit gestures of people, to come up and predict what the future might be like. What will someone be doing in the future, for instance, is someone distracted, and so on. 1 second. If the video runs, oh yeah. So essentially what this is looking at how people behave in different urban environments and really taking into account that behavior is extremely different from one to the other. And if autonomous vehicles are to be adopted, are to be working in different urban environments, what they really need to do is to take people's behavior into account. So what are we doing now? Well, we say we create natural interaction with autonomous systems. Well, now the software is ready. We're working with different deployments within the UK, US, and Japan. And we're starting to implement it into autonomous vehicles, robotic systems, and so on. But what this really should go to is to create this interface, to start creating interaction with that, and start thinking further about how we can create effective and fluent communications between person and machine. Thanks a lot.
Thank you very much. The next guest from Aleksandra Mankowsky from Future Studies and Ideation from Daimler AG. Give him a welcome applause here, Aleksandra.
So, hi, this is slightly related to Maya's talk in a way that it's about technological imagination, because we are listening a lot to technologies and what the people are doing. This one was a picture made from bionic or biomimicry example in design, yeah, and then the engineer is there swimming in an aquarium to show that the car is stable around. So why? Huh? How do we imagine? How does that work? And there's another slide I made for you from 2014. It's about the influences. Yeah, the influences are, on the top of the slide are the movies, Metropolis, Strangelove, Odyssey, and so on. And then we have the space age, atomic age, and so on. And all these, there are many imprints on the people. Yeah, so if you like to know about an engineer's imagination, ask him or her about her literature and youth. Yeah, children's books. Mostly you find all the serious research projects in the children's books already there, or in the movies the people watched. Like today, everybody watched Matrix, and therefore Matrix is so important, and everybody talks about virtual reality and likes to dive into this virtual reality because they want to fly like the guys in Matrix. Yeah, so this one is maybe it's sometimes you need a little bit humor and, what can I say, distance yourself if everything is too serious. Look at the movies you have seen, look at the children's books you have read then, and then you know about yourself and ask the people around you, then you know nearly everything. In this picture there, I think we have now starting a century, after a century of progress, we're starting a century of transition. Yeah, maybe important too, if you listen to people now, then even in this room, most of them talking about innovation, not on progress. But innovation is something else than progress. Yeah, progress is something for the good and for the people and whatsoever, and innovation is, yeah, it's new, huh? Cool. Yeah, and therefore I hope that we will, after the transition phase, we will enter again a century of progress where we talk about the common good and stuff like that. So common good should be like visualization. Like, for example, this one, we made this one once, new utopianism with an advanced design, yeah, showing pictures, let the people, the designers, make visualizations of their environment, but which they know. This is Milano, yeah, a very ugly crossing there, and now this guy, he made this one out of it, yeah. So it's not totally utopian, not the bad part, but the good part. You could rebuild the city like that. And the last picture there I want to show you is about how can you use, that's related to Maya, how can you use art forms like manga, yeah, or anime to reflect that the things become artificially alive, automated, so to say. And well, I think it's just to stop, because now it's 5, 3, 4, 2, 3. Think of progress and your children's books. That's the message. Thanks.
Thank you, Alexander. The next person, George K. from the Kiska, is he available? Yes. Your 3 minutes starts.
Thank you. Hello. One of the most dangerous places in the world today are the roads, and the fastest you can go on these roads is on the German Autobahn. Now, you'd all be familiar with this trend inside cars to include these expansive, interactive touchscreens, but I want to give you a glimpse today of a very different sort of interface challenge. So, motorbikes. Motorbikes are the least autonomous vehicles in the world. You know, people buy these for the joy and the pride of fighting to keep this beast under control. I call them autonomous level -1. It's a vehicle that's trying to work slightly against your best intentions. So consider a typical riding scenario out on the open road. Your hands are gripping this handlebars for balance and throttle control. So touch screens are useless, your voice control is far too slow. Plus, the dashboard in front of you has got some dirt on it, there's glare from the sunlight, and from inside your helmet, you need to rapidly refocus your eyes from the view ahead to the screen right in front of you. So you've got a fraction of a second to read the information that you want from this display. Now, in a car, it doesn't matter where or how you're driving. Every possible setting, an interaction, a menu option is always available to you at every point in time. But on a bike, we don't have this option. This just won't work. So at extreme speeds, every extra icon and pixel that we add is going to increase the cognitive load on this rider. So with only a limited display size with which to keep people safe, our design of the interfaces for these bikes has to take a radically different approach. So our key insight at Kiska was to tie the design of these interfaces intimately to the context in which they're used. So traditionally, a designer of a car interface or an app will craft this single perfect menu structure and then say to the user, here it is. But on a bike, we do the complete opposite. So we start by observing every possible riding scenario to work out what are the key interactions at every point in time that are relevant and meaningful. And then we design all the elements of this interface to adapt and to scale and respond immediately to changes in these scenarios, like, say, sudden braking or acceleration. Think of it as if we design hundreds of different interfaces and then present just the single perfect configuration to the user exactly when they need it. Now, don't think of this as just us copying some minimalistic design trend, because if you want to design interfaces for these sorts of situations, it's only possible when your design is directly driven by the context in which it's being used. Because after all, at 250 kilometers an hour, no one ever cares whether their heated seat is turned on, but everyone should know their speed. Thank you.
Very interesting. Thank you very much. The next person, Lindsay Saunders from Open Innovation, as a CEO and co-founder and senior program manager on Mozilla's Open Innovation.
Thank you. All right. Hi, guys. Okay. There we go. All right. Today I'm going to talk to you about Mozilla's approach to open innovation. And innovation isn't only about the next big idea or the new shiny toy. It's also about, it's also about how we create those things. So we're going to take a step back and look at the traditional approach first. What you're seeing right here is closed innovation. And according to conventional understanding, the key parts of innovation in a company come from its employees, its research and development department, and a fault-tolerant corporate culture. And this represents the closed innovation paradigm. I'm going to lead off the next section with two quotes. One is Joy's Law, in management, Joy's Law. No matter who you are, most of the smartest people are working for somebody else. And also IBM's Thomas Watson, the fastest way to succeed is to double your failure rate. So how do you double your failure rate, and how do you get more smart people to work for you? Open up your problems. And so Mozilla has taken a broad definition to open innovation. We blur the organization's boundaries and take advantage of the knowledge, the diversity, the perspective, and the ideas that exist beyond our borders. And we do this through research, identification, engagement, and action. We research projects that are working outside of Mozilla. We identify those projects that we want to work with. We systematically engage with those projects, and most importantly, we act on them. We take in those resources, we take in those ideas and new perspectives and incorporate them into our culture. All right. As many of you probably know, Mozilla is one of the first expressions in open source development as well as participatory forums. And over the last 20 years, we have grown. And that means our portfolio has expanded, our projects have expanded, and we now need a more systematic approach to identify competitive advantages. And this expands beyond traditional open source methods. And so we are now open by design, not open by default, not traditionally open as open source is today. And this is allowing us further engagements by being intentional about how we develop communities. And this allows us to more readily influence market dynamics and be competitive. This includes using our ability to be open to strategically shape ecosystems, to operate different models of openness depending on the needs of a product or project, to engage our communities and create new ones through open practices, not only at the start or the end, but throughout the product lifecycle, and to create this openness and this intentional openness around all of Mozilla to ensure that all of our projects are working this way. All right. Sorry, I was one slide behind. Mozilla has created expertise in the fields of research, crowdsourcing, open toolkits, ecosystem outreach, open source, community and development, and contributor experience. If you're interested in a deeper dive in any of these or any of the projects that Mozilla is working on, please definitely get a hold of me after. I would love to talk your ear off about it.
Thank you very much, Lindsay. Give a big applause. The next person we are switching, it's Ron Archer. Is he available? Yeah. It's Ron Archer. Yes. Give him a big applause, Ron Archer. Here's the mic for you.
Thank
3
you.
minutes.
Thank you so much.
Danke.
Nice welcome from my side. I want to give you a short overview about research activities of Rosenbauer. Rosenbauer is a big manufacturer of firefighting equipment, and I want to share with you our research results. At first, we know UAVs, drones, and the state of the art. They are only used now about flying eyes. They want to give us a picture about an overview of situations and also some search activities of rescue areas. Also measurements of hazard substances and to locate some hazard actions. But in the future, we try to see other activities like the flying sun. We called it the illumination of point of emergency. We need much light, and so this is a very beautiful and very useful function. The next point is the first response UAV. We are able to send about geographic data to send the drone to the point of emergency and give us a preview of the situation. Also, the 3D mapping of the situation of earthquake or of flood areas. The indoor exploration, we heard before some examples. And also the heavy area for extinguishing in high-rise building situations. But also in flood areas, we can be a rescue, or we can produce a rescue unit for rescue people or animals or other things. Now the development will go in this direction. Here you can see a short example about the situation that the floor prices are more increasing, and in this way the buildings will increase more and more, and in this way we need elevated waterways like this, but the technical end of our ladders are 64, 70 meters, and afterwards the buildings are 900 meters, and in this way we need other solutions. And here we can see that the heavy-duty UAVs can make, with water and also a power supply, a high-rise extinguishing unit. And in the next dimension, the imagination of our development and research activities are going to a unit which can rescue people and also transport equipment and rescue equipment in another way. And here you get a short impression about the new direction. Thank you so much. That's a short overview of the near future. Thank you.
Danke. Sorry, mic was not working. The next was Guger. Yes, welcome. Welcome, welcome, welcome.
Thank you very much. I'm Christoph Guger from GTEC. That's a small company from close by here. And we are designing brain-computer interfaces. And we are using it here at the BCI Hackathon just over there. So we get 100 programmers together on Saturday and Sunday. They are coming from all over the world, and it's very nice because programmers are needed here in Austria. And we have also fashion designers who are working with 3D printers. We have people from the art university using sewing machines. And all these guys are designing brain-computer interfaces in order to control drones, so you can mentally control a drone. We have also a gin tonic robot, which is controlled with the BCI system. So it's a very nice environment. And I invite everybody to come and program with us or to just observe what these guys are doing. Just on the opposite of the hall, we have also this Rosenbauer firefighting car as a gadget. And we use the BCI system for controlling this car. So you can switch on, for example, the blue light, mentally controlled. So it's a fun experiment. You can just pass by. It takes about 3 minutes to calibrate the BCI system on your brain. And then with your thoughts, you can control this new firefighting car. We are also in the firefighting challenge. There are 100 firefighters coming on Saturday, and they have to do certain tasks like building hoses together and all this stuff that firefighters are doing. And you know, they have a lot of muscles, they are very strong, but we are checking with our brain-computer interface how smart they are, and we check that the brain is also working, so they also need a brain-computer interface to do part of the challenge with their thoughts. And that's a very nice extension of the muscles. Then we have also a children's table where children can pass by and build their brain-computer interfaces, and we are just advising them that the BCIs should look like a unicorn so that it's more attractive for these children. And then we have also a medical station where physiotherapists, doctors, or patients, stroke patients, for example, can pass by, and they can use our brain-computer interfaces for stroke rehabilitation. So we have shown that paralyzed people who were yearly, for 30 years or longer paralyzed, can learn motor control again when they use the brain-computer interface stroke rehabilitation system. So pass by, it's also close to the hackathon area. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Guger. The next speaker here, Wolfgang Freiseisen. No, Wolfgang, sorry. Thank you. So you can use the slide. Give him a big applause, please. Thank you.
So, good afternoon. My name is Wolfgang Freiseisen. I'm coming from the RISC software company. We are doing technology transfer from science to industry, and I was asked to give you a brief introduction or a brief overview about the Upper Austrian AI strategy. The AI strategy of Upper Austria was developed around 2 years ago. This was this time, we remember it, when Google changed from mobile first to AI first, and IBM told us everything will be cognitive. And at this time, Upper Austria also decided to develop an AI strategy. I was asked to coordinate this, and the idea behind is mainly driven by economics, but also by scientific reasons. And the economics reasons you can see, for instance, on this chart, because you, therefore, from there it's very clear that every technology developed country who does not use artificial intelligence techniques will have some problems in future and will not increase its economy. But we have also the fact that we have a very strong research group, especially around the well-known Professor Sepp Hochreiter, and therefore we have some very good research base on which we can start our strategy. The main goal is to become a region. The main goal become a competence region for artificial intelligence, and we want to use this opportunity especially for our industry, but also to get new people, new students in our area. In the core, we have the basic research, but by the usage of application research and in industry, we want to transfer these developments into the economy. And since I have only a few minutes, I can give you a rough overview. We have around 25 recommendations in our strategy in 5 areas. We have a basic research area, we have an education area, we have a cognitive health systems area, but I will only select 2 examples. And one example is our Medical Cognitive Computing Center. From there, we want to build up an international center in AI-driven medical research, and we want to develop their AI-based systems for healthcare, for instance, in the area of heart operating or similar things. And the second and last example is more or less that what we have here, namely the Ars Electronica Festival, because it's very important to discuss this technique, very critical. And I stopped in 3 minutes. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you, Wolfgang. The next person, Hermann Erlach from Microsoft Österreich. Hermann, see, yes. Give him a big applause, please, for Hermann.
Hello, good afternoon. Great to be here. Hermann Erlach, Digital Transformation Lead, Microsoft Austria. I want to talk about for me, very interesting art installation, and I want to start with some sort of personal story. So I've been to Venice a couple of weeks ago, and it's a very expensive place, as you know, these days. And imagine yourself sitting on the Piazza San Marco, drinking a very expensive cappuccino and reading the newspaper about global warming, coastal flooding. You're still enjoying the nice city, but you have some sort of strange feeling in your stomach. What does this really mean? Yeah? Earth warming, global warming, what does this mean? How can we make it tangible? So, what we did this summer, we flooded New York City. At least the Times Square, leveraging the latest technology from Microsoft. What does this mean? You can see it here.
Making an augmented reality art experience. You can experience Unmoored through a downloadable app on your phone or for a couple of days on Microsoft HoloLens headsets. And it's meant to raise awareness about climate change and that maybe at some point the city will be flooded. What you experience is basically kind of a sensation of ships and water passing above you as boats pass by through the streets, and then a call to action. There's atmospheric sound.
So you can see what New York City and the Times Square will look like probably in 20 years or 50 years. You will see the ships above you, 10 meters, 20 meters above you, and it creates an amazing experience. Of course, it's not really a funny story. We have to do something against it, but I think it's an interesting art installation. We are leveraging here a piece from Microsoft perspective called HoloLens, which creates some sort of mixed reality impression, and it's actually really, really powerful. So the fusion between art and technology is a very, very powerful one, and we are looking forward from Microsoft perspective to power more of this art installation in the future. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Super.
2 minutes, by the way.
That was very fast, thank you. The next person from Japan, Kazuko Tanaka. Welcome. Give her a big applause. 3 minutes is not long to, with all the innovation forum, get inspired, but let's go for it. Thank you.
Yeah, with 3 minutes in Japan, we managed to make this cup noodles. So I hope you get to enjoy my 3 minutes. So I'm here actually to talk about art thinking for industry and society. I am from Hakuhodo. Hakuhodo is actually the second largest advertising or marketing agency in Japan, which is all about capitalism and about commercial films. But we have been having this very nice collaboration with Ars Electronica this past 6-7 years. And what we have been doing as a research entity is Hakuhodo, actually, we come with a background philosophy we call it the people thinking, where we do not actually, well, we do make commercial films, but we don't look at people as consumers, like marketing targets, which is well, practically just data, but we call them people as in living human beings with their lives. And through the people thinking, we are shaping, designing ideas, which comes to creative solutions. Whereas at a very early stage of our collaboration in looking for this new creativity, we found that Ars Electronica is about art thinking, naturally. And art thinking, we think, is about questioning and looking into the possibilities of the future. And it's about creating creative questions. And so with this very transdisciplinary project, we are able to come up with finding the real issues and then deploying them and going into solving them. And our challenge in one of our methods in doing this art thinking, we've come up with a FIS, we call it the FIS, Future Innovator Summit, which we are celebrating our 5th year doing this. We're back at the hallway in Ars Electronica Festival. And it's about diversity of people with backgrounds. So we need diverse people. We have artists, engineers, scientists, designers, social activists, and all these people with our mentors, we are coming up with creative questions. Creative questions that provoke people. They need to be provocative, very essential to human beings, and also they let us come up with imaginations of the future sceneries. And so our next stage of challenge is the art thinking for industry and society, where this May, we actually made a FIS Tokyo, right in the middle of Tokyo, with a metaphor of Tokyo as a laboratory for a future. And we had conventions and open discussions, and we also invited the industry people. And you see a bus tour, a very funny little hilarious bus tour that we went around with to get people inspirations. And we actually have we're at the opening symposium where we will talk a little bit more about where our inspirations are with the creative questions. So I know people from FIS are also here. Welcome aboard this art thinking exploration. And I hope industry people also come up with this attitude of art thinking. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you. For the persons here after will also be questions. So after everybody's done, so if you have any questions later to her, we can have the round round. The next guest, Gianpaolo Barozzi. Yes, he is there. But give him a welcome applause for here. Thank you.
Thank you, thank you. So the first thing is, what the hell an HR guy from Cisco is doing here, right? So, of course, is going to talk about work, but through a different perspective. So this is one of the elements I really love, because it's been as powerful as Darwin for work. Frederick Taylor, you know, with scientific management, he changed the way in which we were looking at organization and people and work. And he said, in the past, the man has been first. In the future, the system must be first. And actually, the system is going to be the one creating first-class men and women, okay? Well, we know what it takes, right? It takes the assembly line, everybody doing this stuff, but it's not just manufacturing. This concept of system shaping man has been gone throughout all our industry, work, philosophy, education. Don't you think you have been in a place like that, which is actually very similar to an assembly line, right? Where you have all your things structured, you know, you need to know this and you need to know that, because we believe the system is going to make better men. From a work perspective, the system also helped us to create hierarchies. The manager was one of the major concepts that Frederick Taylor defined, right? The manager and the workers. Everything is going to be structured. Now, what we know right now is that technology, society, economy, work is actually taking the structure to this. And by the way, this is the network of the Game of Thrones, right? So the first element I want to talk today is we live in a networked world. So please be aware of your network, nurture your network, design your network. And then, you know, every time we've been talking about social network analysis and organization analysis, you saw stuff like this, right? But then we thought that if we want really people to use it, and this is a bit of a lesson for HR, we need to move to something different, which is something more beautiful. So what we started to do in our team was to design a new way to look at your network that is not just giving you a couple of insights, but it's going to bring you in. And so, you know, if we're thinking about networks, we're thinking about how we can depict our thing, right? You have today an HR guy that is telling you to look at beauty first. And this is how, for example, we reshuffled the nectar diagram, and this is one of the other elements in which we place all the teams at the border. We call this the dream catcher view of it. So, I started with Frederick Taylor. I ask you to look at your network. I would like to finish, being a physicist, although, now in HR, with Dirac. And physicists and science in general really accept, if it comes up, really accept, should I go back? Okay. Really accept mathematical beauty and beauty in general as an act of faith. So think about your network and make your product beautiful, and everything is going to be well. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Very good. The next speaker. Johann is here. Give him a welcome applause for Johann. Chief Scientist Office from Linz Center of Mechatronics.
Hello, thank you very much, everybody, for letting me introduce Symbiotic Mechatronics and the Linz Center of Mechatronics to you. So, who are we? We are more or less the boundary between the research and the industry. So, we are transferring knowledge that has been generated in the research part to industry. And in Symbiotic Mechatronics, we are trying to match two worlds, the physical world and the virtual world. And we try to use all the knowledge we've generated over the last years to go in this direction. I would like to give you some examples. One thing is here, you see a snow wood chip blower. Everybody knows this, for instance, when you have a snowstorm and you would like to blow your snow away. What we did in the virtual world is trying to optimize this. The regular thing that is there was optimized by humans, and you see the standard option there, and the optimized option by optimizing this in the virtual world was an increase of performance like 20%. So nice thing, a nice example to increase efficiency. The next thing in virtualization is something like, I would like to add a digital twin to my physical system. You see a saw chain here, and this is not one that is used by a person. It is automated, it is working separated, but nobody is driving it, so it would operate with a certain speed. And what about having a digital twin that is optimizing the performance of this thing? And this is exactly what we are doing. We are using our simulation methods to optimize operation of such systems. Another product or customer product information system project is you are buying stuff in a supermarket. Yeah? Let's start to read the image on the left top side. You don't know what to take when you are in the supermarket. A lot of marks are there, a lot of information, a lot of biomarkers. But what about a system that would help you make the right decision? Yeah? So you could enter in the system, I would like to buy this stuff, and this fits to my needs, and the system would then check the data in behind your product, and it would give the right product to you and helps you make the right decision. So it is something like making data available to all of you in a very easy way. And the last example is knowledge engines. It is about, looks very complicated, but it is more or less our process of designing electrical drives. Nobody of us can design an electrical drive, not even me. But this would be a possibility that you just enter what you need. You just need a drive with this size, with this speed, with this performance, and the system would fully automated design one drive that you see on the left top page. This is what we would like to do to really automate knowledge, to make it available to all of us. So let's summarize. Virtualization should go from the design phase to operation to help all of us in performance. We should create value for all of us using information. So we have to extract customer needs when we look at data. And if we really get the way to fully automated design, this would mean we would have really easy access to knowledge, and that is the future. The easier we have the access, the faster we are. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Masfrich. The next guest we have from Japan. She is the co-founder and representative director from Lovework, and the Japanese liaison from the director of MIT Media Lab Japan. Welcome. Give her a big applause, please.
Hello. Today I want to introduce Hyakubanji, an experimental initiative to create the value of next 100 years with young generation. I believe Hyakubanji is a unique approach for innovation. We offer the space for creative team and support them by connecting them with industry leading mentors. So let's see what the Japanese youth dream the future will be like. Sorry, I forgot to send. So this is a Hyakubanji. So the first topic is food. Maybe gorgeous food will be in the past. They care for ecology and sustainability. So this project team proposed insect as food. Ant powdered yogurt, or cricket ramen, or giant water bag gin drink. The drink doesn't show the shape of the bag. Maybe it will be easier for you to try the insect for the first time. Actually, I tried both, and I'm afraid to say they are surprisingly delicious. How about communication in the future? The communication project team with people who have a hearing disability, they raise a unique message. Sorry, I usually speak Japanese. こんにちは。ちょっと緊張してます。And if you don't understand Japanese, you still don't think you are disabled. And that's same to them. They use sign language, and we use spoken language. But we just use a different language. So they consider what is a common language among us as a human being. So they invent a unique workshop that doesn't rely on hearing or seeing or speaking, but rely on feeling by hands and by body. And they want to figure out the common language and communicate as human to human. And last example is fashion. We have traditional underwear, fundoshi or kimono. They are beautiful, but doesn't fit to the current lifestyle. So they update the style and communicate to the new generation and getting new attention from the world. So we will host 100 projects in 2 years. And through the innovative project, we invent a desirable future by our hands. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Chiaki. Much appreciated. Our next guest from the Senior Director of Ars Electronica Solutions, Michael Mondria. Give him a welcome applause. Thank you.
Good afternoon. I'm Michael Mondria. I'm responsible for Ars Electronica Solutions, and we do a lot of projects all over the world in the field of media, art and technology. So I will share with you some thoughts, images, some experiences in the field of error or innovation or whatever you name it. And so I will focus on space and infrastructure because of lack of time. And I just want to start with, again and again, we have in projects the same issue. Suddenly we have a large scale and not planned scale of infrastructure, cabling, LANch, and so on and so forth. On the other hand, we detect that the planned environment for testing and developing some installations are not really fitting to the space that these installations will need in reality. And so we have to figure out how to deal with this situation. Or another thing is that we expect to come to a perfect prepared hall with infrastructure. So we find really lost space, totally empty. Or the other way around, to expect a dust-free environment and see some strange arrangements in terms of space where we had to deal with. And magically, always the things are shrinking down that we have planned in terms of how to bring in the infrastructure and do in our installations. And we have to find a solution for this, dealing with this space. So, but just giving these examples to showing the outcome then. What is the outcome? And if you look then at the outcome, and believe me, the images are from the same spots that you have seen before. The outcome, I don't really expect that you will find something in it that gives you a hint on an error or a mistake or something that is wrong or something that gives you the feeling, oh, there is a lack of innovation or something. But looking at these results, and from my point of view, they are really nice and positive. So why is it possible? And from my experience and my conclusion is, of course, it's possible by us humans. We're a fantastic species that we are able to make errors. And not just this, we are able to figure out with these errors what we do next. And with this fantastic capability that we humans have, I think, let's do this. Let's try to use this unique and fantastic capability of us humans to create really new things, innovative things, and fantastic things for us humans. So thank you very much. Enjoy the festival.
Thank you very much. Very, very much appreciated. Our next guest, Bernhard Lehner, co-founder from Startup 300. Give him a welcome applause, please.
Hello, everybody, and good afternoon. My name is Bernhard Lehner. I'm the co-founder and the CEO of Startup 300. Well, basically, we started Startup 300 3 years ago as a business angel network, and together with our 150 shareholders, we've invested like 8 million euros into, I think, 40 startups so far during the last 3 years. In 2017, we decided that we want to do more, that we will build an ecosystem or a platform that is supporting founders and startups through all stages of their entrepreneurial life. We defined 8, I think, pillars that were important for such a network, and yeah, we started doing it. So first step that we did was we opened a space. We called it Factory 300. It's called it's located in the Tabakfabrik here in Linz. And it basically gives startups and founders and also the teams of innovative companies a room where they can work, where they can learn, and where they can connect. So the concept, I think, was quite successful so far. We had over 7,000 people visiting our workshops and events at the Factory 300, and we have built a community of around 400 entrepreneurs, which are working and sometimes celebrating in the Factory 300. So the next step for us was realizing that the collaboration between corporates and startups is a very, very important thing. Corporates are looking for like digital transformation excellence. They're looking for innovation, and they're looking for talents. And on the other hand, startups need access to markets, or they need experience, they need cash. So collaboration between corporates and startups is very essential for such a network. So we founded Think 300. We called this this venture to enable this cooperation on an eye level. cash, money is very, very important in a startup life. We have a business angel network, but we also needed like a regular venture capital fund. So we raised one, and we have our Capital 300, and we raised over 30 million euros so far last year, and we are co-investing together with big American, mostly, venture capital firms into Austrian and European tech companies. What else? We have acquired Pioneers this year. Pioneers is the organizer of the biggest startup event that we have here in Austria, and we have partnered and teamed up with Talent Garden, the biggest developer of co-working spaces and innovation hubs here in Europe. Together we will roll out hubs all over or in the major cities in Austria. So what's next? I think that we are going to establish our network all over Austria. This is a clear strategy, and that we are working with a focus on building our international network as well. Our goal is to build more startup excellence here in Austria. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Bernhard. Our next guest, Agnes. Yes, welcome from Austria. And she also the Golden Nika U19 in 2012. And she has an organization, TINA, creating jobs for refugee women and from the host communities in the Middle East. Thank you.
Hi, thank you. My name is Agnes. Thank you for that introduction. I'm the co-founder of TINA, a social bag manufacturing company based in Jordan. We employ Syrian refugee women and Jordanian women. And today I'm going to briefly tell you how I got to that position. So about 2 years ago, the media and the world basically was occupied with the topic and the issue of the Syrian war and the resulting refugee crisis. And to me, I got curious. What was going on? What was happening? What were the responses? And most important, what could I do? I've always thought of myself as an entrepreneur, and for me, the challenge was on. By asking myself the question, I was determined to do something. So I thought about it, and I started doing my research, and I came to the conclusion I wanted to create jobs for women in a high-risk and high-vulnerable area. What kind of jobs and how I was going to do that, I had no clue. So I did my research, I started talking to people, and then I came to the conclusion I was going to go to Jordan and do it there. Then I booked my flight. My friends were all, oh, it's never going to work out. Save yourself the time, save yourself the trouble. But nevertheless, I thought, nah, what are they talking about? They don't know what they're talking. I'm just going to go. What's the worst thing that could happen to me? So I went to Jordan. I started networking. I started talking to people. Eventually, after like 6 to 7 months, I met my co-founder, Ranim Mekbel, and we finally started to do something. We met the women, young women from Syria, the same age as we are, and we were talking to them, and we were seeing the opportunities that were there. And for us, okay, textile, many people can sew, so let's do something in textile. What's the easiest product we could do? Bags. Okay, we have a business model. There's a demand for bags, promotional product market is growing, so why not? We can do that. And with that decision, the hustle began. We started to sell, we started to buy machines, manufacture, hire people, and today we have employed more than 20 women, and we are determined to employ a lot more. So for me, this just showed me, just try it. Now I'm at a point I can say it was not easy, it is not easy. Are we going to make it? I have no idea, but I'm willing to give it my shot, and so should you. Just do it. Whatever you believe in, people are gonna know better in hindsight anyway, so you might be willing to go for it and just give it a shot. Thank you so much for listening.
Give her a big applause, Agnes. Thank you very much. Our next guest, Masha Sergeeva, is Masha. Yes, give her a welcome. She's the Director of Communication of Dot Art. And go ahead.
Thank you. Hi, so my name is Masha, and I'm in charge of communications for .art domains, and I just wanted to tell you about some innovations that we are doing in the company. Okay, so I want to talk about the object and the value of information about this object today. In 1965, Joseph Kosuth, a famous conceptual artist, asked an essential question: what an art object is. Is it a description of an object? Is it an information about an object? Is it a representation of an object? And we think that if he was doing this work today, he probably could have called it not 1 and 3 chairs, but 1 and 4 chairs, because he definitely would have thought about the digital copy of an object and information about the object that exists online. Now, in .art, we are obviously administering a domain zone, but in a larger sense, .art is an innovative hub for creativity of all forms, and we are constantly looking for solutions on how we can improve the art world and making it easier to navigate through. That's why we were concerned about the fact that today information about the object online is largely scattered and decentralized. It makes it hard to navigate through a lot of irrelevant data. It's inconvenient and very time-consuming. So we thought how we can change that. And our research was based on the Object ID catalogization standard that was developed by J. Paul Getty Trust and adopted by the major law enforcement agencies and UNESCO and ICOM. And we developed another standard, which is called Art Records, which is essentially the international standard for art object identification on the internet. And imagine it's possible to park all the information the owner has on one web address. So all your data will be put together in one place. So with Object ID, it becomes possible to track provenance, to track movement of the object around the globe, and to centralize all the data you have about the object in one spot. So we talked to ICANN, and they allowed us to add several fields in the WHOIS protocol. So now when one is registering a website dedicated to the information about the object one owns, one can also input not only the description of the object that we also added there, but also the information about the ownership of the object. So it becomes possible to track the usage of an object and the movement of an object and the ownership of an object, period, sorry. And so now about the centralization of the object in one spot. You can store all different types of data, text files, images, video, data files for 3D printers, etc., etc. One can regulate the access to information one owns. So some part of information could be publicly accessible and some could be privately held. And then you can get an opportunity to monetize on the information, because right now, for example, museums have super large collections and the objects there are not really working. Imagine you can sell text files, images for print up to a certain quality, some specific reference that will ease the communication with your collection. Also, one can add third-party services like image printing and memorabilia, gifts, etc., etc. So essentially, Art Records was created to track the provenance, track the usage of an art object around the globe, store and share information, making art a true asset. And this is the key thing. We want to make an art object a true asset. That's it. And it was perfectly 3 minutes because I timed my presentation like several times.
Spasiba, thank you. Thank you very much. Our next guest from Paris, Aleksandra Smilek. Aleksandra, yes. Aleksandra is the artistic director and creative photography of EP7 Digital Gallery in Paris. She's working on innovative ways to connect architecture with digital art.
Yes, hello. Thank you for having me. I'm Aleksandra Smilek from EP7 in Paris. So I'm going to talk about EP7. EP7 is a connected architecture based in Paris, and it's an architecture covered by monumental LED screen. EP7 is an art gallery, but it's an open-air art gallery. It's reinventing the way we used to exhibit art, and it's also helping people to get access to digital art, because today we all know about this, but some of the people that live in cities don't have access to this art. So it's a three-stage building made to deliver food, like very good food from Paris, art and innovation. It's a facade covered by 4 million of LEDs. It's one of the first digital facades dedicated to art exhibition in the public space, and it's merging digital art and also street art. It's merging the both, and it's here, you can see the video. So it's a facade which is displaying artwork from 7 a.m. until 2 a.m. So it's basically a living building, and we display many sorts of art. You can have interactive art. You can have also writers on this facade, so it can be like a whole area to express yourself, to express politics, conviction, and so forth and so on. It's a new way of exhibiting. It's a democratic space. It's allowing people to get in touch with creators. And it's also a new way of using buildings in our city. How many buildings we have? How many facades we have? How many facades dedicated to expressing our ideas, our creation we can do? Really, EP7 is the first building in that type, and it's based in Paris, and we hope we're going to have more of that building in Paris and all over the world. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Our last guest, the last guest for today, is Horst Hörtner from Future Lab. He's the founding member of the Ars Electronica Future Lab from 1996. Give him a welcome applause, the last guest for today.
Thank you very much. I'm going to talk about the Swarm OS, our Swarm OS, but I can't see my slides at the very moment. The Swarm OS is created software by the Ars Electronica Future Lab as we founded, here we go, thank you, as we founded the Spexels Research Initiative. It's a different industries working together who are all interested in robotic swarms on the one way or the other. So what the Swarm OS is doing is a running operating system at the same time on the agents, on the robots, and on a centralized server. What we have achieved by this is that we separate the swarm intelligence from the actual vehicle. So all the swarm intelligence from the vehicle goes out into what we call being the implant. And this implant then can go back into the different varieties of vehicles, like go back on a drone, or go back on a ground robot, or is connected to even ships. So what it does is it can combine in one swarm all different kinds of vehicles. So what is that good for? What you can do is you can operate a mass of robots with even different functionalities with one single operator, or maybe a second one as a backup. And you can fulfill this entire procedure, this entire task that you would have with up to 500 or so different vehicles synchronized in one environment. Even, as I said, cross vehicles, as this photo shows the presentation in Tokyo that we did together with NTT, Nippon Telecom and Telegraph. Those guys are utilizing swarms for communication issues in the future. NTT is one of the companies utilizing the Swarm OS already in their research projects. So as I said, what is it good for? Entertainment, of course, that's where we're coming from, with the massive amount swarms with LED lights underneath swarms of drones, but also utility inspection. If you think about utility inspection, where we would have one drone to investigate a bridge. Of course, the streets that are going underneath the bridges, highways, etc., need to be closed during the operation. If you have one drone, it takes 10 hours. If you have 10 drones, it's only 1 hour. And now I'm very happy to announce also that since this year, the company Rosenbauer, firefighters equipment market leader, is also utilizing the Swarm OS for their future productions. So we're looking forward to intensify our research on that field. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Today we had 20 speakers, 20 short stories from 3 minutes, 20 examples where things go good, maybe some are wrong. We don't hear the wrong part of it. We talk about the error part of it. We talk about finance, startups, all kind of things. We talk also about innovation, science, technology, and the arts, all different disciplines. The European Commission, with the STARS Prize, is trying to motivate how the arts can help, together with Ars Electronica here in Linz, to make things visible. Art is not the place always to be the good point of the wrong and right in terms of making a story, make it visible. It's also to help to make the thing to progress, to make it tangible. I think the industry, what you can see with all the hubs and all the innovation, all the computers and all the software we have, it means nothing. Nothing if we can make it visible and tangible and not make it now. We talk about future. We talk about maybe what could be. But here, all together here at Ars Electronica, we know we want to see what is going on now, and there's a lot of things going on now. All the stories here, which you can see, I think if you have any questions later, please come to them, and I think it's so much input, and they have so much more only than 3 minutes. I think that especially when we talk about the combination of all the disciplines, it's the only way to go now. It's the only way now when you can think about helping the industry, make it more sustainable, make the universe, what we are living on, at least for the industry, stronger. It's not easy. I'm not saying this is the perfect way, but with all the 20 people who say that they can collaborate, making hubs and moving forwards, let's at least try together here and spread the news what is going on here in Ars Electronica and Linz. That our things are visible, that technology and the arts can work together, and at least worldwide things are happening. If you have any questions, please let me know so I can give the microphone to the other 20 persons. At least give a welcome applause to all the 20 guests here, please, for now. Thanks. Anybody questions? Raise your hands. Nobody? Or you want to dive into the Ars Electronica here? Is now your chance? No? Are you sure? All right. Then I wish you a very welcome afternoon. Thank you for coming and enjoy the program. Danke für alles. Schönen Tag noch.